So what do I say, honey? What do I say when I don't like dinner? Come on, what do I say?
Acolyte Again? The Acolyte Again. One of the things I had to make peace with in my journey as an aspiring YouTuber is the crushing reality of repetition. There are truths in this world and they are gonna bear repeating. Like 3-act structure, the hero's journey, how to write female characters.
Don't talk too much or too loud. Sometimes it doesn't go over too well.
I'm joking.
There's just no way around it. It's like what I imagine the personal hell of being be. Year in, year out. The same lessons, over and over.
Amen.
And here we go with another round of Acolyte tabloid tantrums. Once more into the breach, the counterpoint must be made.
Okay, kid. Say what you gotta say.
Sci-fi fans are not racist.
I just wanted to say that I'm a nerd. And I'm here tonight to stand up for the rights of other nerds. All our lives, we've been laughed at and made to feel inferior. And... Nerd! 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 And tonight, those bastards, they trashed our house.
I'm a nerd too. I just found that out tonight. We have news for the beautiful people. There's a lot more of us in our view.
The princesses in their high castle, complaining about being victims of the great unwashed masses. And what's the age-old complaint? People who don't agree with me are Hitler. It reminds me of a tweet I saw that read, "There's a racism demand that supply cannot meet." I say princesses for good reason. What this daughter of the rich and privileged is displaying is unabashed royal arrogance. The royals rule everyone and view themselves as superior to everyone through what was termed as divine right. God chose them, that's why they're where they are. And you're inferior, and that's why you are where you are. Good Lord, it drips off Amanda Stenberg. But I digress.
If I may be so bold, sir.
If I may be so generalizing, stereotyping.
Compromising, enterprising, anything but tranquilizer.
You know, let's speak in the lingua franca of the insufferable Egypt. Let's stereotype everyone. This is what happens when shallow, trendy people who would be better suited to being TikTok influencers saunter into the sci-fi section of the video store.
How about this one? Get it? I'm sure it sucks. All these movies suck.
Broken down, this is what happens when one group, we'll call them Group A, that's never really had any interest or connection with a different group, we'll call that group Group. Nerd! In fact, Group A has often had open contempt for the other group.
I'm not kissing a nerd.
This is what happens when that first group wades into the second group's field of interest. Now, so many other, and quite frankly, better YouTubers are going to cover this, so I'll be brief. I just want to highlight a few points that might be overlooked. I also want to say that I strongly believe that she made this video at the behest of her agent or manager, her representation, that want her to put out something where she shows to the studio, to Lucasfilm in particular, and the wider industry in general, that she's a team player. And please consider her for all future projects. That's what this video is, and I feel for the poor interns or assistants that were tasked with sitting through this insufferable letter of separation from a former employee. There's so much verbal garbage she kicks, I can't get into all of it. But you gotta meet these people on the ground they've chosen, but with a little critical thinking and verbal jujitsu, you can expose them.
In order to continue to be myself, I would have to honor my value system, a lot about my own value system, honor my sense of ethics and my belief system and my value system.
She says the phrase value system a lot. Please do tell. Go on. What is your value system? Is it a secret? Is it rude to ask someone what their value system is? I would think if your values are important to you, and we are referring to these principles or beliefs as values, so I would think you do value them. Well then, why wouldn't you want to share them? Maybe influence other people to share in those values. Maybe find like-minded people you can talk about those values with. How did you come about choosing these values? I have so many questions. Do you write them down? You speak about them like you could rattle them off no problemo. So you must have made a list at some point. Is it in a notebook? Is it embroidered and hanging on your wall? on your heavily diversified equity chamber. Oh, but it's not just a list, it's a system. What is a system? A system is a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network, an organized framework or method. How does a value system work? If I value monogamy and I value the environment, am I offended if a polygamist collects my recycling? I have a friend, super hippy-dippy. He's Mr. Environment. Got a plot of land, built his own house. I don't know if I'd sleep in it. And lives a very back-to-earth existence. Living off the land, using gray water, no electricity. I don't know how he does it. But I'll give him this. He's got a set of values, and he's built a system out of them. I really don't understand how this person, this rich actor, has any value system at all. Or in the immortal words of Rusty James,
Saying ain't doing.
what is this value system? How does it work? How does it play out? How have you set your life up as a system around these values?
And it brought up a lot for me, a lot social-political dynamics.
Social political dynamics. Okay, I'm interested. Go on. In what way? Can you elaborate? Or are you just using big words to sound smart? 'Cause I'm hearing a lot of sizzle, but I ain't seeing any steak. Wow, do you hear the size of that word? She's smart. I'll give you this. Social political dynamics certainly sounds smart, but I ain't giving you an A when you ain't turned in a paper. She says she experienced a rampage. Again, words don't mean anything anymore. Words have been hyperbolized, exaggerated to the point that they've become meaningless. My mom called it the age of the amazing cheeseburger. These people taking photos of their cheeseburgers and calling them amazing. It's a cheeseburger, my mom would say. How amazing can it be? But I digress. R.I.P., Ma. Rampage has a meaning. A period of violent and uncontrollable behavior, typically involving a large group of people. Receipts, please. Interesting, the company that she worked for, Disney, making the Acolyte, the Star Wars show, took a black person's face off the movie poster when promoting the film in China. Why are you calling out the company that you worked for their racism? For not standing up to racism? I don't like racists. I was beaten up by racists. I was beaten up by racists when I was in high school, and they were members of the hockey and football team. None of them liked Star Trek. None of them liked Star Wars. They might have gone to the movie and saw the movie when it came out, but they weren't sci-fi fans. They weren't nerds. That's where the racists were. So if you've been receiving horrific death threats, on The View, she said she received horrific death threats. Receipts, please. Show us who these people are. It's called screenshot, a screen grab. If they've been sending you this, either through email or through comments or through social media, then there's a record of it. We would like to see that, please. I would like to see that. I would like to see receipts. If you're going to condemn the whole fan base, you've got to understand how that is a reflection of you.
I had this very unique experience of experiencing the world at large, which is, of course, hyper divisive right now, through the lens of this very, very unique opportunity of being in Star Wars.
She says she had a unique experience, experiencing the world at large. She go backpacking across Europe. She spent 2 weeks in Costa Rica. All that tells me is that she lives in a world where she doesn't have experience. Then one day, she got to experience something. That's great. I'm all for that. But it also tells me you're not really in a position to start lecturing people about anything because you don't have experience. You're unable to put things in context.
Experiencing the world at large, which is, of course, hyper divisive right now.
Hyper-divisive is what you and the media are doing because it generates profit called ad revenue. Social media admitted they have an outrage algorithm. They admitted this back in 2009. They profit off our outrage. So mainstream media adopted that, and you in mainstream media, by calling everybody racist and everything is divided, is turning people against each other. I think what you meant to say is hyper-divided, which the country is not. Americans are not divided. Polling shows that vast majorities of Americans agree on almost every major issue. Maybe you disagree with them on a particular issue, but there is a clear majority on healthcare, affordable housing, police reform, labor issues. But we don't get any movement on these policies because both parties are captured by Wall Street. I don't like getting into politics. Vote for who you want to vote for. It's your vote. If being an ist or a phobe is really bad, and most people agree that it is, then you should have to produce receipts when possible if you're leveraging these accusations. Because otherwise, as we know from an entire history of humanity, people will lie to abuse something. And if you're going to accept people throwing around accusations of ists and phobes with no evidence, then you are trivializing the importance of these social issues. Kinda seems like you don't really care about these issues if you throw around accusations like parking tickets. Thanks for clicking in.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
You better subscribe, kid.